Hey, what's up, YouTube? Welcome to Sixx Daze. I am Bob Sixx, and this is video 2 for today. This one is your questions, and I'll answer them. I got more than I expected. Frankly, surprised anybody wants to know anything about me, but I do like talking about myself. More than happy to answer these. So the first one, right off the bat, 3 separate people asked it is, what is your favorite artist? Uh, that one's kind of tricky to answer as far as new artists that I've been introduced to. I really like Peep. I really like Juice World. I have different reasons for the ones I like. So as far as potential to be huge stars, bigger, they both died way too early. Juice World and Pete. I like Eggs because of his diversity, but he also, and I'm going to say this with an explanation, has so far my favorite song that I've heard, and it's because of the emotion in it and the message in it. And that was his song for Riot. I was really moved by the video and the message that he gives in that, because I'm very much against racism. While it's your right to be a racist, I'm very much against it. He's absolutely right. If you think you're better than someone else, whatever those people that you think you're better than are doing wouldn't affect you at all. I have a huge theory, and I'm not here to preach that. I'm just answering the questions. So as far as having an impact on me, Riot, definitely. But my favorite artist that I really get excited about, and people have pointed out when they see me watch his videos, and he was also the biggest surprise, was NASCAR Aloe. When I heard the name, I was like, what the hell? I don't know if I'm going to like this stuff. There's actually quite a bit of ours, because I don't read up on them and stuff. I just have to go, oh my God, how am I going to feel about this? I was pleasantly blown away. So I think as far as, and as of right now, my favorite artist that y'all have introduced me to is NASCAR Aloe. So see, I have different reasons for liking different artists. They rank differently based on the impact they have on me. And as I've said, X is not my favorite artist. I'm not a huge fan. I do like his diversity. I have respect for him. But that song Riot is just, I have to keep going back to that because I want to make sure I'm clear and people don't misunderstand what I'm saying. Peep, Juice World, Suicide Boys. I mean, y'all have introduced me to some great stuff, and I'm looking forward to. I've got so much more coming up. Spaceman Zach, that's coming up this week. The Ink Spots. There's just so much. Y'all are introducing me to some amazing music, and I appreciate it. So it's really hard for me to say favorite artist because I like them for different reasons. So I hope that answered that, and that also answered Stephen Nolan's other question, which is, who surprised you the most? NASCAR Aloe, because I didn't even know what to expect from this guy, but I love him, and people will point out, you can see it in my face when I'm watching his videos. I love most of his stuff. Jesse Alvarado wants to know my first, last, and favorite tattoo. This is my first one. No, it's not a bird. When I was 18 years old, I wanted Mickey Mouse playing a guitar flying through an amp. But when a friend of mine who's a biker did it. I mean, he was a tattoo artist, but he did it at his home instead of doing it at the studio. I traded some substance for it. YouTube doesn't like you saying certain things, so oddly enough, I will say that I will be answering a question here in just a few minutes that is directly related to said substance. But I had forgot the picture of Mighty Mouse. So I was like, oh man, I'm not going to go get it. And he had a picture of a reaper with a scythe coming up over his head, or a sickle, and it asked who's next. So I was like, well, let's just take that out of his hands and put a guitar in his hand. So this is actually a reaper playing a Flying V guitar. And it has the name of the best band that I was in, which is Sixx, Psyk. Don't look on YouTube. This is long before YouTube, and you're not going to find anything. I only have like a handful of friends that remember us. But, so that was my very first tattoo. My last tattoo, which may be no, it's not my favorite. My favorite tattoo is on my leg, and no, I'm not going to try to pull my pants up so you can see it. It is a cross with an alien head in the middle, and it asks the question, are you sure? The reason that's my favorite is my spiritual beliefs. I do not believe in the God that most people believe in. I do believe in a superior being that by definition is a God, but it's not the God you're reading about in the Bible, or is it? That's the part I'm asking, because a lot of the stuff that people say happened in the Bible, that could be an alien. So that's why I'm asking, are you sure? And I've asked a lot of people, especially religious people, if you found out that the God you worship, you live and die for, that you just can't wait to spend eternity with, was an alien, would that change your beliefs? See, that's the question that's posed. That tattoo's actually sparked quite a few, not arguments, interesting conversations. So that one may be my favorite. My last tattoo is my new tattoo. I really love that tattoo. It gets responses. Either people get it and they laugh, or they don't get it and they don't want to tell me it's stupid. Be a grown-up. If you think it's stupid, that's fine. It's not on you, and I'm not asking you to get one. I sure as hell ain't asking your permission. It took me 2 years to talk my daughter into doing that, because she doesn't do stupid tattoos, and she thought it was a stupid tattoo. She didn't see the humor in it, but I think it's hilarious. So that was the last two tattoo that I've gotten as of yet. Okay. Scentless Apprentice wanted to know, what do you think about psychedelics? I have to be very cautious, because YouTube does monitor these things, and the AI looks out for certain triggers. So I fully support them. I think they are fantastic. I know it's the safest thing for you to do. However, I don't think stupid people should do them. And I know, oh, that's not PC correct. There are some stupid people in the world, and they should not be doing them. Psychedelics are more of a smart person's thing. There's been a lot of amazing, if you Google it, a lot of amazing scientific discoveries while people were using psychedelics. But it helps broaden your mind, your horizons. And when I went to EMT school, in the medical book, as far as adverse effects of everything, the only bad thing they had to say about the certain psychedelic was that a bad first trip for a lot of users. That was it. There was nothing else bad to say about it. So I fully support it. I loved them back in the day. I haven't done them in a long time, but that was hands down my favorite thing to do. So yeah, they're great. Just be smart about it, responsible, handle it well, know what you're doing, be with some good friends, don't be out riding around and any of that stuff. Just nice safe place at home, good friends. Okay, Zadi had the question, when was the first time a girl broke your heart, and how did it go down? I was 17 years old, and little Melody Mixon broke my heart. I had noticed when I would call, because she was in Washington State, I was here in Texas, that more often than not she wasn't home. She was outside, and well, wait, that sounds like when she was dating my friend, and we were hanging out. Could it be? So I had called her and told her that I was going to surprise her at her graduation, which was coming up. My plan was to fly back there. And she said, if you plan on coming back here, don't. Well, that's peculiar. Why? Just don't. You don't need to spend that money. Huh. And about 3 days later, I got a letter telling me to eat shit, basically. I don't handle heartache like most people due to my early years. I get pretty violent or angry. I don't hurt people when I do that, but I do yell a lot and that kind of stuff. But yeah, so through a Dear John letter, and I think that was the first time I was really like, oh, it didn't last long. I got it really quick. Really quick. It just kind of stung just a tiny bit. So, yeah, that was it. It was just through a Dear John letter, and because she knew she had the card, she was running out of time, she had to tell me. So I found out later she'd been cheating on me with the guy that she married right out of high school. So that was that. For the most part, I'm that guy that just, okay, deuces. What's my favorite? I hope I'm saying this right. Weiroo-X. I hope I'm saying that right. I'm not. Sorry. I had 3 questions. My favorite music genre. My favorite is 80s metal. 80s music is a very tight second. But I like all genres of music. I'm very realistic about it. I was brought up listening to everything. I listen to classical music regularly. 50s blues, rock, country, jazz, everything. Now, I even like today's music for what it is, but I can tell you it doesn't have the staying power that the music from the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s does. The ones that don't die off, you won't see these guys touring in 20 years. I'm confident enough to say that. There's some really talented people, new people, but the way they're falling into certain trends just dictates they won't. I mean, because the 90s and the early 2000s, there were people that they were huge, ginormous, worldwide. Everybody loved them. They're probably flipping burgers now. I know sometimes when you do those Where Are They Nows, they're actually working regular jobs. And they were in the biggest bands in the world. There's guys from 80s metal bands that were huge, super rich, living the same kind of lifestyles that today's rock stars are living, and they're flat ass broke, working regular jobs. So, and those guys had real talent. Before you get too upset, writing a song is not it. That's not the one thing with music. So there has to be musicianship. A lot of guys now are just mixing beats. They're not actually doing it. So don't get upset. I'm not shitting on your favorite artist. I'm just stating a fact. You know, as a music fan and watching trends and listening and being open to all kinds of music, the stuff that most of you are digging right now, while some of it will hold a special place in your heart for most of your life, it won't be around in about 20 years. That's just being realistic. Uh, how old am I? I will be 53 in March. So 52, but I'm about to turn. I'm close enough to turning 53. I man said that. Way surprised to be here. My rock star plan was to be dead by 36. Almost succeeded, I would say. Glad I didn't. I'm enjoying life. I would have missed a whole bunch of awesome stuff. My job, that's a tricky question. I'm a Lyft driver at a major retailer. I worked that job, even though it's full-time hours, I worked that job 3 days a week. I work at a trophy shop that allows me to exercise my creative, whatever my creativeness, the other day. So I work 7 days a week. Plus, I have a high-end custom pin business. I make custom writing pins. If you look on Facebook at Wild West Pins, those are my pins. I, when the weather permits, I have a lawn care. You know, I mow grass and cut trees, and these are my jobs. It's what I do. So, see, it wasn't just as simple as going, oh, I flip burgers at McDonald's. Do a lot of shit. You gotta do what you gotta do. Do that hustle to make the money. Okay, the last question. And I saved it for last specifically because it is a very complex question with a very complex answer that may shock some. And it says, how did you get out of the period when you were in a dark place and taking substances for your personal reasons? That question was posed by, oh shit, not by oh shit, Kashi posed that question. I kicked the camera, obviously. It took me years. My early life, my biological father abused us, so I was in a dark place early in life. And as I got older, I realized that I'm in total control of who I am and who I become. So I started making my own choices. I still, to this day, suffer from depression, and I have different techniques that I use to get out of them. Most of it's a distraction to get out. And I'm sure YouTube would frown upon me saying some of them, especially since I know a lot of people that watch my videos are minors, so I can't just say, oh, we'll do this or do that. I can't give irresponsible advice. But a distraction, find a creative outlet, be it drawing something or doing videos on YouTube, something to distract you from that, because the longer you sit in the dark place and just, life sucks and it's never going to get any better and I can't do anything and I don't want to do. I mean, before I even knew I had depression, I went through a period where I would sit on the couch on my days off. I only worked one job then, which was the job that I worked 3 days a week. On my days off, I would literally just sit on the couch playing Xbox until right before time for the kids to come home. And if I had not already gotten dressed, I would get dressed so that they wouldn't know I've sat on the couch all day playing Xbox. I finally realized something was wrong, Googled it, and found out I was suffering from depression. Well, I'm not not that kind of depressed. Depression has many forms, and the one that I have is I have no desire to do anything, merely exist. So you have to get out of that. So by staying busy and creative and doing stuff and being aware that, holy shit, I've got a problem. Yes, you can get medication, and if you can't pull yourself out of it by trying to distract yourself or find something that makes you feel alive, then yes, you should try medication, but only temporary. I never suggest long-term medication to anyone. This may surprise a lot of people, as over the years, I drank beer my entire life and got my first taste of whiskey at 8 I was a really bad alcoholic through my teenage years, but I'm not the kind of alcoholic that craves the drink. It's once I pass a certain point, I can't stop, which is why these days I can have a few drinks and be okay. I have a stopping point, which is 6. So no matter how much fun's going on or whatever, I don't pass 6 drinks because I know I can't stop. I will guzzle until I black out. As far as other substances, a lot of people are surprised to find out I never took any of those to alter my state or take me away from my pain, ever. All of it, with the exception of when I became an addict to something that goes up your nose. I'm really wording this carefully so that YouTube doesn't get me. I spent 2 years addicted to that, and that just kept me awake. It didn't, a lot of people are confused about what certain substances do. The white substance that a lot of people sing about in their songs, it doesn't alter your mental state. You're awake and alert. You're firing on all cylinders. So I didn't take any of those. The substance, the psychedelics, that was just to expand my mind. I enjoyed doing it. It was fun. I wasn't trying to not be me. So alcohol I very rarely used because I was depressed. Don't get me wrong. I've had my moments where I would, but it was a temporary thing. It wasn't daily, like, oh, life sucks. Oh, life sucks. It wasn't like that. So if you find yourself doing that, you really should check yourself and get help. I beat all my chemical dependencies without medical help. I quit smoking, and I used my rationale when I quit smoking was, you beat meth with no help. Cigarettes are nothing. So I live the way I live because I choose to. But as far as substances, I just took them for entertainment, to stay awake, to expand my mind. It was never because I was depressed, I felt like shit or bad or anything like that. So if you're taking them for those reasons, please reevaluate life and realize you can do this without that. I've helped a lot of people. I've helped 2 people not commit suicide. So it's understanding that you are in complete control of your life, and while there are outstanding circumstances you can't control, you can control who you are. So I really appreciate those of you that answer that. Like I said, it blows my mind that anybody wants to know anything about me. I hope those helped. If you have some more questions, ask them and I'll answer them as best as I can. Like I said, I have to watch some of the things I say on YouTube because I can't be irresponsible and they don't like certain topics. So that's why I'm watching that. So I do appreciate those of you that asked your questions. I hope I answered them to your expectations. Don't forget, coming up in just a little bit, be a brand new peep reaction video. I do appreciate y'all hanging out. From the bottom of my heart, I thank you so much for coming here and checking out my videos. Have a great day. Make someone laugh if you get the chance. Don't forget to tell your friends and family each and every time you leave that you love them, because you just never know when that'll be the last chance you get to tell them. Until next time, I am Bob Sixx. Peace!